One of the best parts about Breath of the Wild is the creative shrines that are located throughout the map. With 120 in total, there are a lot of shrines that stand out and a lot that don't. So, I wanted to rank them. These are ranked simply on how much I enjoyed them, and I'm not going to include any DLC shrines in this ranking. With that said, let's begin! 121, Shrine of Resurrection. First off, I know I just said there's 120 in total, but this one started it all, which is also why it's fitting to mention it first. Technically, it doesn't count in the 120 shrines shrine count, but I'm going to count it here anyway. Essentially, you wake up, climb a wall, and boom, shrine done. 120, Zuna K's Blessing. After a bit of thinking, I realized that there are 4 shrine groups that can be connected. The Blessings, the Minor Test of Strength, the Moderate Test of Strength, and the Major Test of Strength. I decided to rank the Blessings apart from one another because the way to get into it is so drastically different. Tests of Strength often have similar gimmicks, so I'll rate them together, but more on that later. This shrine is so stupidly easy. You glide to it. Blessing. This feels like one of the out of ideas shrines. 119, Dag Choka's Blessing. For this shrine, I will say one positive thing to start off. The Lost Woods is very cool. Now, with that being said, I'm going to unleash my rage. You get to follow this frightened Korok all the way through the woods, but you can't spook him. Ope. You got too close, you lose. Wow, you got spotted behind this rock. Also a loss. Oops, the Korok can see behind a regular line of vision, and you're caught. If I didn't say screw it and try to figure out the path myself, I 100% without a doubt would have lost my remaining brain cells. Good God, this is so bad. But you know what else sucks? 118, Korgu Chida's Blessing. Also known as Eventide Island, I have never been more angry playing this game. Some of you may see this and turn the video off, and some of you may see this and start hollering in agreement. This was a scrutinizing, agonizing, painful shrine, to put it lightly. You get put on an island where a magic voice removes your weapons and makes you wing it. The goal is to take 3 iron balls and guide them to their pedestals, which would be easy except they're being guarded by merciless enemies. Normally, these enemies are a breeze, but like I said, no weapons. What could go wrong? Let me show you. Having weak weapons, needing to bomb kill the Hinox, the Italian plumber Hinox fella ground pounding on you, unpausing your game and getting stream sniped, a thunderstorm, the stupid water guy shooting rocks at you, this fake chest enemy, more thunderstorms, finally unlocking the shrine and not being able to climb because of more thunderstorms. Good God, I never want to do that again. Thank goodness the shrine is empty, otherwise I might have pulled some hairs out. I need my paper bag. 117, Mag Nora's Blessing. Okay, now that those are out of the way, let's begin the video. So yeah, this one's practically nothing. You shoot an arrow at the rock on this cliff and it blows up. You walk in and that's it. 116, Magnesis Trial. The Oman Ao Shrine teaches you Magnesis. This is probably the easiest of the tutorial shrines, but the challenges are still decent. They include moving a metal cover, creating a bridge, and opening a door. Minor Test of Strength Shrines. I wasn't sure how to rank the Tests of Strength Shrines, so I decided to rank them generally and I'll do a mini rank inside them. The Minor Test of Strength Shrines I've never enjoyed. Either you're too overpowered that it's not even remotely interesting, or your weapons are so bad that it's an unnecessary grind. The biggest issue for me are that these shrines are so boring. It doesn't teach me anything and it gets way too repetitive way too fast. Ugh. 115, Dahesho. It's in a field. 114, So Kofi. It's located in a forest. 113, Pumagnate. Also located in a forest, but it's a bit cooler of a route to get to. 112, Da Caso. Float to an island and you're there. 111, Katachuki. Out here in the fields, the Guardians farm for the... Yeah, just avoid the Guardians and it's smooth sailing. 110, Noya Neha. This is the only minor test you need to unlock somehow, and it's with a fire arrow. Woohoo! Number 1! And that's all the minor tests of strength. 109, Cryonis Trial. Kenamut is where Cryonis is first introduced. Outside of having an enemy, there isn't much of a challenge in this. You use ice to jump a ledge, open a gate, but at least you have to use 1% of your brain to think of how to raise this part. Still, a fairly simple shrine. 108, Sunken Scoop. This one is pretty underwhelming. Magnetize the bowl, pick up the balls, put them in the holes, and unlock the next area. The final area, you need to put the bowl on the ground in order to let the ball go down, but still, not much of a challenge. 107, Stasis Trial. Oa Dame is the shrine where Link learns the power stasis. It's a shrine, that's about it. You use your new powers to stop a wheel and a rolling ball, which is fairly elementary. The one cool part is that the first time learning this, you realize you can whack a frozen object and it takes off after the timer runs out. Still though, fairly simple. 106. Talo Neg's teaching. Yeah, you learn more stuff. Side hops, backflips, perfect guards, and charged attacks. Not much of a challenge. 105. Steady Thy Heart. After a confusing way into the shrine that involves breaking oddly placed boulders, you have a few puzzles you need to solve. The first is putting fire on a pair of torches, followed by crossing the spiky bridge, and finally, getting past the spiky ball. Once you do that, you're free to leave. A major test of strength shrines. These are more interesting than the minor tests, but like, man, why does there need to be 8? Maybe it's because I'm bad, but I never loved these. The biggest redeeming factor is the insane weapons you get from winning. Winning feels cool, but usually the fights are such grinds that after a while it doesn't give the same feel as the first time. Like I said though, I like the weapons. A lot. One saving grace I could mention is the unique ways to get to these, but it doesn't save the adventure inside of them. 104. Mozo Sheno. This had a shrine quest that didn't help me at all. Decent flight though, and the area is cool. 103. Chemico Sasa. Smack dab in a snowy mountain. 102. Tena Kosa. Located in the middle of some ruins. 101. Chasketa. The location is neat, way out in the middle of an ocean. 100. Goma Asag. This one was unique for 2 reasons. I had to burn my way in, and I got to make ice blocks to stop the Guardian. 99. Tatsuwa Nima. After shooting the dragon to get a scale for the shrine quest, you can put the scale in the water and unlock the shrine. Same rune as last time. 98. Hiyamiyu. This shrine itself is located on the corner of the map, but I like the gimmick inside. Raise the metal. 97. Sas Kosa. Whoever the genius mastermind is that decided to put a shrine buried in the castle, you are the reason I'm ranking the test of strength compared to one another. If it wasn't in this category, it is without a doubt a top 10 shrine, but it's getting thrown in here. But my god, putting it in behind the metal bookshelf was such an awesome idea, and I really can't believe it turned out this well. Absolute genius idea, the environment is awesome, and it was dope. That wraps up the major test of strength. 96. Halt the Tilt. I don't know if it's just me, but I couldn't find this for the life of me. In a tiny crevice on the side of the cliff, there's rocks you need to blow up, and then you can enter the shrine. The shrine itself is cool with a neat idea, but it's the same thing 4 times, using stasis to stop the ramps from teetering. 95. The Wind Guides You. I'm not really sure how, but this was the last shrine I did for this video. The shrine itself is supposed to be an introduction to the glider, which I've been using for the last 32 hours. So, I've gotten decent at it. It's very simple though, as you glide from one platform to the next. Modest tests of strength shrines. I guess all of these tests are just mild to me. The modest tests of strength shrines have a little bit of an advantage because they're not as much of a grind. They don't suck to the point that you see one and scream, but they're interesting enough that it's worth fighting. The weapons are decent when you finish, but it doesn't take forever to get that end result. 94. Kinai Shaka. This one got saved by the rest of the group. I had an awfully difficult time getting to this, and if it wasn't in this group, it would be one of my 5 least favorite shrines. Inside, it's exactly what I expected. 93. Muojim. Nothing special here, it's on top of a hill. 92. Namika Oz. Cool location as it resides in the middle of this pit. 91. Sasuke. This shrine quest was not my favorite. You have to wait until a sun or moon is over the tower and shoot an arrow at it. I just don't really love time-based shrine quests because it's often a lot of waiting. 90. Mija Roki. Remember how I just said I don't love time-based quests? This shrine is the literal worst one for time-based stuff. You need to wait for a blood moon, which can take up to 4 hours of your time. The reason it's higher than the last one is because you need to show your true self to the world and take off your armor. It's a little bit funny. 89. Shoka Tatone. After taking photos of 3 different guardians, this woman gives you the orb and lets you open the shrine. That wraps up the moderate test of strength. 88. Bomb Trial. This is the only tutorial level shrine that I thought was actually interesting. You're taught to use bombs, which is neat, but the puzzles are more challenging than previous tutorial shrines. This part, where you have to launch bombs and yourself to get to certain areas, was just awesome. Yeah, definitely the best tutorial shrine. 87. Electric Path. This shrine was actually tough for me to figure out. You need to move this electric source around the shrine a lot to be able to advance to the next area, but it's never as clear as I would guess it to be. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know. This shrine was just meh for me. 86. Windmills. Turn on all the windmills. Simple concept. The first time I did this, I could not for the life of me figure out how to get all of them on. Although, if you play with it a bit, eventually it's not too hard to figure out. Simple idea, simple shrine, good time. 85. Shay Katha's Blessing. Cass tells you to get a dragon scale and bring it to the praying statue, which isn't too hard. If you know how to get to the dragon, things are pretty simple, and after an accurate shot and heading to the pool, the shrine is pretty simple. 84. Metal doors open the way. The name does it justice. Open doors, blow up some rocks, and now you have a bridge piece. It's not a crazy idea, but it plays really well. Good, simple, fun. 83. Ratag Zumo's Blessing. The entire idea of the shrine is to walk this ball around and around in order to place it on the pedestal. And awesome! What about enemies? This will be a bit more challenging, right? Not really. I ran the entire thing without dropping the ball and took a total of 2 hearts of damage, so it wasn't that difficult. 82. Kuka Nata's Blessing. The hardest part of this shrine is finding Cass. You find Cass, he tells you an easy riddle, which is even easier because the game highlights the important words. It's not really a riddle, but more like some random class where you apply what you learned. You run to the shrine, have lightning strike it via a metal object to help, and boom, you're in. Overall, decent concept, but I wish the riddle wasn't as obvious. 81. The Water Guides. This was a neat use of the Cryonis rune. The water comes down the waterfall, and you need to use Cryonis at the right spot so that the ball ends up hurtling toward the goal. The last bit is a little tricky, but with some logic, it becomes obvious. 80. 2 orbs to guide you. This one is a simple concept that we've seen before. Put the ball in the hole. We get to do it twice here, and both have minimal thinking to it, but it's an interesting idea. Afterwards, you have to time this jump, and you're free to finish the shrine. 79. Speed of Light. After a hop, skip, and a jump, and some Sean Kingston, you can enter the shrine. After turning this wheel, the water rises, and your job is to swim over very quickly. On my second try, I nailed it, and that's about it. 78. Passing of the Gates. Now we have a puzzle. This shrine is impossible without the key, which, conveniently, I managed to miss completely for the first 5 minutes looking around. Once you find it though, you have to put this ball into this area so that the platform near the door can shoot you up. After a few tilts of the metal cage, you make your way to the end of the shrine. 77. To Cuomo's Blessing. I think the idea of rolling a snowball to break a door is a phenomenal idea, but this one was rough. The hitboxes down the hill kind of suck, as my snowballs kept hitting random things on the side. Once you break the door, you get to fly through a giant skeleton, which is pretty sick. With nothing on the inside, it's all about the journey to get to it. 76. Suma Sama's Blessing. You find a book in the middle of nowhere talking about a shrine pedestal that needs a cold shadow. So, you pick up a snowball and wait. My only problem with this was that I made my snowball bigger, sat and waited, and it was clearly covering the pedestal. The cycle only triggers during a certain time, so unfortunately I had to wait until that point. This shrine was okay. 75. Shields from Water. I like the concept of this shrine. Make ice out of the water and use it to protect yourself from enemies. The flowing waters make it a little harder to navigate, but with some cautious paddling, it's not too bad. 74. Kiha Yug's Blessing. Sometimes this game can be very subtle, hard, and agonizing. Other times, it's not. You're supposed to find cliff-side etchings of electricity. The game devs actually told me personally that they thought this wasn't big enough. Jokes aside, it is huge. Anyway, shoot an electric arrow, unlock the shrine, and it's a blessing. 73. Pushing Power. Using your magical Water Zeus powers, you can create a path for the ball to reach the finish line. You'll need to freeze time like Doctor Strange and push the ball into the goal. If I could have made any other fictional character references, I would have, but the gang solved this easy mystery. Zoinks. 72. Power of Electricity. The first time I did the Camel Divine Beast, I had no idea what these electric orbs were, so this would have helped. Essentially, you need to either use these to power open doors or use metal as conductors. Easy idea as an introduction to electricity. 71. Power of Reach. This shrine was an interesting one. It deals with a combination of fire and magnesis. Between burning leaves and shooting a fire arrow to burn boxes and lift up the door, it felt good to solve through this. 70. Lano Ku's Blessing. The inside of the shrine is empty, but it's all about the strategy to get inside. It feels really cool to scale the bottom of the wall to get in, and it takes a lot of thinking to figure that out. Pretty cool puzzle. 69. Korsho Hu's Blessing. Between the desert and the mountains, you notice 7 large statues hanging out with obvious spots to insert the metal balls. After looking around to find what goes where, it's not too hard to match them up. Pretty simple. 68. Daga Keek's Blessing. After slaying the Divine Beast, this shrine becomes available, which, for an all shrines run, is a bit annoying, but I digress. Find a metal spear, climb to the top of the waterfall, and do a superhero landing and the shrine will appear. Not too complex. 67. Kato Wawi's Blessing. Somehow, this shrine made it this far. If you would have told me that I needed to beat a Hinox in the dark, I would have laughed at you. Surprisingly, it wasn't that tough. I'm kind of confused I'm saying this, but I don't think it was that bad. Maybe if I did it again, I would begin my furious raging, but not this time. 66. Tana Oa's Blessing. This one's fairly inquisitive. You have to do a shrine quest. By starting in Hateno Village, a quick chat with Clavia shows you the way. Follow the trees. The Lorax would be proud. Hiding underneath a mountain, which, without the quest, I never would have found, is a shrine. No puzzle in it though, but it's about the journey, not the destination. That is, the journey is interesting, which this one was. Let's just move on. 65. Tho Kaiu's Blessing. Yeah, so I cheesed this one pretty bad. You're supposed to defeat the Molduga and light the 4 lanterns, but I did it without defeating the Molduga. I imagine defeating this thing would be pretty tough, but I didn't have to worry about it. 64. Shai Yota's Blessing. Cast gives you a mission of blowing up rocks to let the air flow freely. After using bombs, the rocks shatter and the air flows in an interesting pattern. When you glide over and land on it, the shrine pedestal raises the shrine out of the ground and you can enter with a simple blessing on the inside. The idea is solid, but part of me wishes we could have gone on a wild goose chase to find the route. 63. Drop and Rise. Interesting. A seesaw. If you drop metal onto the seesaw, you can launch yourself up to get enough height to grab the shrine. Really simple idea, but the amount of airtime I got reminded me why I don't go on seesaws anymore. 62. Shift and Lock. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 62. In the middle of the huge snow-covered field, we find this shrine. It has an easy idea. Lift the block up and have it hold on top of the platforms. You have to be quick to get the key, but the timer isn't too strict. Fun one. 61. Bravery's Grasp. This is one of the shrines I had the hardest time on. I got the chest easily by freezing the laser, and I managed to get the next chest with an arrow. After that, I was stuck. I didn't know how to trigger the diamond so that it could be raised up to finish the shrine. It turns out you can pick up the laser and put it on this moving platform. It's a smart idea, I just had no idea you could pick up lasers. 60. Buried Secrets. First off, there's an awkwardly difficult shrine quest where you have to move badly placed metal balls into holes on a high centered area. You can't walk them up, which is unfortunate, so after tedious searching, it turns out you have to freeze the item and hit it over. Sheesh. It feels satisfying when you get enough height on it though. Is the shrine over? Nope. On the inside at least, I got to relieve my stress by breaking every rock with a bomb. Wait, no, never mind. It turns out you need some of them to get up. Good lord. It felt good to finish, but geez, this was a grind. 59. Mog Holland's Blessing. This one's okay. You get to navigate through the Lost Woods with only simple weapons, but isn't too difficult. You'll see a few enemies, but overall it's not too tough. 58. Stalled Flight. The name says it all. You have to fly at the right moment to finish. I really wanted to rank this higher on the list because I love the idea, but it's way too short. Including the chest, you only are required to stall twice, which feels like such a minimal amount. It was fun though. 57. Directing the Wind. Using metal barriers, you're supposed to block fans so that the ball rolls up the correct route. After a little bit of visualization and processing, it makes a good amount of sense. Getting the secret chest was hard for me until I realized I could pretty much just jump the gap if I placed the metal block well. Oops. 56. Red Giveaway. Similarly to the last time, this one has a ball follow the fans to get to the goal. This one is slightly better as you have to find the hidden part in the wall so you can place the metal on top of it. Good change compared to the last one. 56. Lackna Roki's Blessing. Pikango wants to see the magical fairy woman in the woods, which kind of sounds like the start of a Disney story. He eventually gets tired and leaves you to find it, which is easy. Being the nice homie you are, you snap a pic and show it to him. Oh, you thought you were done? Nope. After corralling the chickens and showing this lady some fireflies, you can finally start the shrine quest. The shrine quest. The heirloom has been taken from Peya and you need to find it. After following Dorian in the woods, it turns out that the Yiga clan was behind it all along. Kill the ninja, recover the heirloom, and unlock the shrine. Thankfully, nothing is inside this besides a blessing, but geez, that was a lot of quests. 54. A Balanced Approach. When you walk into a shrine and the first thing you see is a seesaw contraption, you're bound to have a good time. Although simple, this shrine is cool to figure out how Link will avoid the spikes above. But with a little thought, it makes for a fun time. 53. Tawa Jin's Blessing. There's a little stone that tells you to get the ancient orbs, and there are 3 pedestals. Guess where the orbs are? On Hinoxes. Beat 3 Hinoxes, unlock a shrine. Inside, all that resides is a blessing. If you have solid weapons, it's not too bad. I actually had to come back to this later because my weapons were sucky, but either way, it was well made. 52. Metal Connections. This shrine takes a hair of thinking, but once you see what's going on, it's pretty easy. I like how you have to be at the right spot in order for the bridge to the end to work, and you can't just go from corner to corner. Pretty decent puzzle. 51. A delayed puzzle. After talking to this woman, she tells you to follow the statues, which is all fun and games until the worst sandstorm comes about and you can no longer see the map. Eventually, you'll end up seeing the shrine in the storm. Inside, you need to drop the electric ball and use it to open the gates. Pretty easy. 50. Drawing parabolas. Thank goodness this has nothing to do with math. You rotate all the stations so that the ball will make its rounds and it opens the gate for you to leave. Nice and easy. 49. Quick thinking. This shrine is one of the more complex shrines. The shrine quest to get in is pretty elaborate, and it can be quite the challenge finding the pieces to finish the puzzle. They are spread out pretty well, and unfortunately, they aren't particularly close to each other. Once you get them though, it's smooth sailing. With a few crouches, light movement, and smart gaming, you get the key and can complete the shrine. 48. Melting ice hazard. One time I opened twitch.tv and saw Point Crow melting ice. Well, if you wanted to watch it again, you could've, on my stream. This is me melting the ice around the shrine in 50 times speed. 50 times. Anyway, when the ice melted, we could enter the shrine. Time to get serious. An ice escort mission where the only way out was to bring the ice to the end? Cool idea. I had to risk throwing the ice through the fire for a sec, but besides that, the shrine was pretty simple. 47. Power of fire. This shrine is based completely around the idea of fire. As AJR says, we go and burn the whole house down. But after that, you're done. So yes, fire is powerful. 46. Metal makes a path. After freezing some of these perfectly circular boulders, you can make your way up the ramps. Then you need to catch a metal one and bulldoze your way up the final ramp. It's actually quite fun to do. 45. Aim for the moment. I like the idea of the shrine a lot. You have to freeze the ball in air and shoot it with an arrow to get it off its pedestal. It will then launch you up and you get to shoot a notch that opens up the door for your success. The shrine, all in all, has a cool idea and is really solid. 44. Kun Sidaj's Blessing. By far my favorite of the quest-related Lost Wood shrines, you have to play hide-and-seek with rocks and trees to navigate through the forest. Once you do that, you get to feed a tree a chest, don't ask, and the shrine is easy peasy. 43. Gorey Tor's Blessing. The idea of this shrine is definitely unique. It's like the day in gym class where you get to climb the rock wall, but the only difference in Breath of the Wild is you get a free heal after. You have to get 100 rupees, which isn't too bad as long as you get the red ones on top. Good idea though, as the climbing mechanic isn't present for a lot of shrines. 42. Zeikasho Apparatus. What a great use of motion controls. The first task is to navigate a spiky block with limited solutions, and then I got to live out my dream avoiding laser beams. Lastly, you need to roll 3 iron balls into their correct slots, and boom, you're home free. 41. Passing the Flame. More spicy hot fire. After burning some leaves down, you can blow up a few boxes and collect the shrine. But when I did this, I blew up way too many boxes and couldn't get the chest. So I made a homemade remedy, got the chest, only to be disappointed in what was inside. 40. Tandem. Getting to the shrine is half the fun. You have to roll a snowball in the perfect spot as it hurtles down the path and destroys the door. Inside, you have to shoot arrows at ropes, dropping the balls onto the buttons. To get some of the chests, freezing the ball is necessary, which provides a unique twist. 39. Build and release. This shrine is perfect when you need to take your anger out on something. You get to freeze objects all around and hit it to gain momentum so it will cruise through the air when the timer runs out. It knocks stuff down or hits buttons, but man does that feel good. 38. On the move. Essentially, there are conveyor belts and lasers you have to maneuver. The first part is pretty elementary, but it picks up fast on the second part. 3 lasers are firing and you have to avoid hitting them or risk dying, along with an escort mission. Overall, a very unique idea. 37. The current solution. This shrine, found under a giant skeleton, is all about making electricity flow. It's pretty interesting, but mostly for the second part. You can't walk the orb through as it will tip the bridge, so you have to kill the guardians. Make sure the orb doesn't trigger the bridge though. The last part is pretty interesting, and I don't know if I did it the intended way, but I threw a bomb in the mix to randomize the blocks falling. The electric current flowed, and we were finished. Fun one. 36. Swinging Flames. Ah, Goron City. It's hot, and so is this shrine. The name says it all. There's some precise bow and arrow work that needs to be done. This is the most in-depth of all the fire shrines, and definitely in a good way. The last room seems to be a bit of a stressful situation, but with a hair more thinking than usual, the path is obvious. 35. 5 Flames. I believe the word I used was Rubik's Cube when playing this, but I think I changed that word to die now. Essentially, you have to spin a cube the right way so that all 5 flames are burning. Not too shabby. 34. Misei Suma's Blessing. You arrive at the shrine and this lady is slumped over it talking about her thirst. So, you need to bring ice to the town so that she can run back and quench her thirst? It doesn't exactly make sense, but the ice carrying moment is pretty cool. If it hangs out in the sun, it will melt, so you have to walk it between shadows. I had a close call with this fire-breathing lizard, but overall, it made for an awesome time. 33. Fateful Stars. Inside the middle of the Lost Woods, this shrine is quite unique. After staring at the situation you're given, boom, it hits you. You need to count the constellations and throw the ball in the correlated hole. It doesn't tell you outright what you need to do, so it's a bit more rewarding when you figure it out. I really like this one. 32. Shatter the Heavens. I really enjoyed this shrine. You use a bomb to propel a block up, and then need another bomb to blow up an area above you. The timing isn't the most forgiving, which makes it a little more tense. It's only this one gimmick, but it's fun to shoot yourself up in the air a few times. 31. Timing is critical. Stand on buttons and watch the ball roll. The timing is critical, but it's also very lenient. The last one's a little tight, but if you try it a few times, it's not too bad. The chest is a little challenging to get to, which makes it a little bit more interesting. Either way though, fun shrine. 30. Wind Guide. In this shrine, you get a leaf to push your floating platform around. And man, does it feel good when you get it. This is one of the longer shrines, so you get to do this multiple times, but for whatever reason, it feels so rewarding to push yourself through the air. There's so many cool parts of this shrine. Blowing up the huge tower, avoiding the spikes as you float through the air, and the actually kinda complex puzzle you have to navigate. This shrine is absolutely awesome. 29. A Weighty Decision. This was one of the more interesting put the weight in the right spot shrines because it all revolved around one single chest. I liked it though. Good idea, good execution, and it took a little thinking to realize that this metal box was necessary everywhere. 28. Dila Mog's Blessing. You know, if there are 3 mazes, unfortunately one has to be the last. The reason this is ranked the worst is mostly its simplicity. The other mazes had a lot more difficult turns, which make them better. Mazes are fantastic, don't get me wrong, but this one just wasn't too difficult. 27. Twin Memories. Climbing up this mountain is bound to have a very rewarding challenge. I can't wait to do this shrine and not come back. Oh, never mind. I need to find another shrine and remember this code in that one, and vice versa over here. Yeah, once you do that, it's not hard to remember. Easy peasy. 26. Twin Memories. Wow, what are the chances? Another difficult climb to find a shrine with a hidden code in it? Let me try the one from last time. Wow, it works! That's crazy! This one's higher because I don't have to come back to it, but if I did it in the other order, they'd be flipped. Jokes aside, I like the idea for these two. 25. The Whole Picture. I like this electric shrine a lot. You need to slowly open more doors with more connecting pieces so the electricity can flow. It takes a little bit to figure out, but the pattern is very obvious and smooth and makes for a fun ride. The shrine was enjoyable, and I kinda wanted it to last longer. 24. Ancient Trifecta. I think this might be a controversial opinion of mine, but I like this one. You have to mount a buck, which finding and mounting one can be quite annoying. It feels pretty rewarding when you do though. The shrine itself is pretty easy, as you have to trigger this laser on and off to be able to get to the finish. I enjoyed it. 23. 3 boxes. Hiding underneath a waterfall, this shrine is pretty interesting. Upon first glance, there aren't any boxes, but the title says 3 boxes. This moment was one of the coolest lightbulb moments from this game, realizing the quote boxes unquote are the metal chests. An absolute blast, and this shrine had a really cool payoff moment. 22. Moving in Parallel. Ah, the Taylor Swift shrine. Cast tells you to shoot a perfect arrow through 2 paper rings. And after some diligent searching, you could find the spot intended, and there is indeed no blank space. I'm sure there's probably another spot, but this one worked well for me. Inside, there are some really cool puzzles as you have to guide 2 balls into the correct locations, tilting the back wall as you go. This was a shrine beyond my wildest dreams. 21. Impeccable Timing. This one's pretty neat. First off, you need to glide through the waterfall, which is an awesome feeling to find, and the shrine itself, although simple, is pretty intriguing. You have iron balls and need to shoot them into the goal. You need decent timing, definitely not impeccable timing, to be able to get the key to unlock the door. After that, you're good to go. 20. Julu Na Apparatus. First, you need to prove to these Gorons that you're a superhuman, which isn't too tough. Just drink some potions and you're good to go. Inside, it's just a rotating block puzzle. The first 2 are easy, but the last one is pretty tough. I didn't realize until after that I could lower one of the sides, but since I'm a gamer, I made it work. For a cube rotation shrine, I don't know what else I could have asked for. 19. Drifting. This shrine is pretty neat. First off, you get to do a little flower maze before entering, which is unique. Inside, the waters are moving, and you need to find a way to the other side. Getting the chests are cool, and the puzzles are also interesting. Waiting for the bomb to go down the lazy river to blow up the final area is pretty unique. This was a creative use of water for a shrine, and an enjoyable one at that. 18. Jitan Sami's Blessing. This is definitely my favorite dragon scale shrine. After climbing this mountain, a dragon is visibly being held hostage by Ganon, and you need to kill the evil eyes. After 4 different stages, the eyes disappear and the dragon is able to drop a scale. After putting the scale in water, a blessing opens up. This felt like a much more elaborate shrine quest, and it really added to the experience because of it. 17. Tempered Power. You remember how in school kids would yell Kobe when they throw garbage into the garbage cans? This shrine had similar vibes. You get to wind up and hit the frozen balls across the water and get it to land in the target. It feels so satisfying to sink one of these suckers, and yeah, it's really enjoyable. The hidden chest is a lot more difficult, but the payoff feels so good. Don't expect to keep your weapons though. 16. 2 Kallow's Blessing. Maze 2 out of 3. The journey to get here is pretty neat, and if you don't know where to go, the maze can be very long. My one drawback is that the Guardian kind of brings me out of the secret mazes with corridors thing, because it feels more like a battle arena at this point. I'll tell you what though, if the shrine's walls chase you to the finish like in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, this would without a doubt be the best shrine on this list. As long as Voldemort wasn't in the shrine. 15. 2 bombs. First, you need to place down a luminous stone, which wasn't a problem for me because I had some in my inventory. The shrine appears and it's time to figure out what's going on. It took me a bit, but eventually I remembered the name, 2 bombs. After using the bomb radius, I was able to advance into the second room. The next area has launching bombs back and forth, and honestly, it was a ton of fun to figure out. You had to hit bombs at the right time so you could get launched into the finish. Absolutely phenomenal puzzle. 14. Trial of Passage. After talking to a fella in the woods, your job is to find an eerie stone somewhere nearby. With some light searching at night, this one here glows purple. After shooting it with an arrow, you get to go in the shrine, which, oh my god, it's like a clock gear. If you stop time at the right moment, the clock stops and you can find your way out to the exit. I really like this one. 13. Synced Swing. I'm pretty sure there's a different strategy for this shrine, but I just started swinging the swings and jumped from one to the next. And I have to say, it was a darn good time. Don't tell my parents, but when I was younger, my friends would be on a swing set and I would try to run through them swinging. Not the smartest idea. Either way, this part reminded me of that. I had a ton of enjoyment with this one. 12. Verona Kachta's Blessing. So, the shrine itself has nothing in it, you just walk to the finish. But why is it this high? Getting to it is so intense. You have to fly through a war zone with guardians shooting their lasers past your head as you float through. Luckily, as long as you're moving forward, it's easy to avoid everything, but oh my god, it feels so cool to get to this shrine. 11. Path of Hidden Winds. Simply put, I love this shrine. Flying around feels really cool, and this is all I could ever ask for regarding a shrine utilizing the glider. You fly up using windburst after windburst, and eventually you seem to find a spot with no way out, and it hits you. It's not visible. This hits me in the fun feels. 10. Todo Sa Apparatus. Getting into this shrine is a ton of fun. You have to go upstream and throw a bomb in the water. Wait for it to float, and boom, you're in. The tilt controls are actually very enjoyable, and some of the puzzles are quite enjoyable too. But if you're like me, you can just jump past the intended strategies. Overall though, very unique. 9. Trial of Power. This one had it all. It was all about opening heavy doors, but each puzzle was different enough that it always felt fresh. Whether you were swinging a ball into the door, burning the bridge for the ball to roll, hitting whatever this is to break the door, freezing the tilty blocks so the ball lands correctly, or boosting yourself up to the finish, there was a lot going on here. It was a fun adventure, and the depth is part of what made it so good. 8. Raka Zunzo's Blessing. Who doesn't love seal racing? This shrine is a ton of fun. You literally just surf behind a sand seal and direct them to the finish. Really awesome idea, and to be honest, the only reason this wasn't any higher is because the inside was just a blessing. This was one of the best shrines. 7. Mayam Agana Apparatus. God, I am such a sucker for motion controls. The tilting feels nice, and it's fun to work the ball through the maze. Once you do that, you get to do a little flick, which took me a few tries, but yeah, I really like this one. 6. Greedy Hill. First, you get to grab some rock and a bone and bring it to this wonderful Goron, who will then break open the path to the shrine. Do you go for the rupees and risk death, or do you take the safe route and live comfortably? It's 100% up to you, which makes it so much more interesting. Obviously, being a man of the people, I risked death and took quite the hit for it. Man, what an awesome idea. 5. Katosa Og Apparatus. What are 2 of my favorite hobbies? Sports and video games. And motion controls, but like, that's not a hobby. And this has all of them. I love mini golf, and this feels exactly like mini golf. You get to do a bonus hole too, which takes a bit more skill. In my opinion, Nintendo should forget they just made Mario Golf and make Zelda Breath of the Wild Katosa Og Shrine Golf and give me a full 18. Might have to work on that name though. 4. The Winding Route. Okay, so I literally just mentioned how there was nothing else I wanted more out of a paraglider level, and then this game gave me this. After a long hide-and-seek shrine quest, Like, why does the game expect me to check here? But holy, this shrine is epic. Paragliding above lava, barely making it to the next platform, avoiding spikes, dropping your paraglider to repick it up, and finding all the optimal paths to take. Oh my god. Absolutely wonderful. Can a shrine get an Oscar? 3. Canon. I have mixed feelings about this shrine. It involves a shrine quest where you're supposed to light the base on fire when the shadows form a heart over it. There wouldn't be mixed feelings. In fact, I would love it if it lined up, but it didn't for me. I had to wait until later for it to match up. But anyway, the shrine itself was so satisfying. You get to blast the cannons to snipe the target in the back, and the second one was pretty challenging. It felt very soothing to hit the targets amid the defense, but man, this one was fun. 2. Blue Flame. Before I mention all of the amazing things about the shrine, I only have one critique. I was hoping that the roller coaster ride over would be more fun. That being said, wow. You have to transport a blue flame for a main quest earlier, but this just does that so much better. Station to station with different techniques being used make it so intuitive. Slow transport unlocks the next stage, and this almost feels like multiple shrines put into one. Just an absolute blast, and honestly, I could have done this for much longer. Number 1, Kazad Toki's Blessing. Holy cow. The moment I saw I got to live out my dream as Dylan O'Brien, I knew I was in for a treat. You get to navigate this labyrinth of what seems to be never-ending turns, avoiding enemies along the way. Without the map in the bottom right, I would 100% get lost, but my goodness, this was so much fun. It's even better because you have to backtrack once you break this eye. What an awesome shrine. There you have it, 120 shrines ranked from my least enjoyed to the ones I had the most fun in. What do you think? Let me know what I ranked right, wrong, or perfectly correct in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.